My name is Detective Holsty. I work for the Plant City Police Department. On July 13th, 2005, we came to this address. Myself and my partner came up to the house. This is the house right here. This is the front door that we walked in. I knocked on the door, and a female came to the door and opened the door and asked me what I wanted. You know, I told her that we were here because of a phone call about a young female child that lived in the house that was possibly the victim of some type of neglect. This is the first time that I've been back in the house, and the house is abandoned now. The photos that you're going to see were taken 10 days after. There was animal feces on the floor, there was chewed up food everywhere, there was trash everywhere, cigarette butts laying everywhere, and there were spider webs hanging from the ceiling.
Damn!
There were thousands and thousands of cockroaches. This is actually Daniel's bedroom right here. When I walked in the room, her eyes were opened very, very wide when she saw me.
Y'all see that big ass spider web? Yeah, she had Peter Parker living in that motherfucker, man.
And her mouth dropped open, and she did the little crab walk into the corner and tucked her knees up to her and wrapped her hands around her knees and started making grunting noises. Her bed sat almost against this right here. It was a box spring and a mattress. They were moldy, they were wet, damp, they were rotting to the point to where springs were sticking through the mattress.
Jesus
As I picked her
Christ.
up, I kind of cradled her head and I looked, and you could see insect activity in her hair. There were fleas. There was nits, lice, all in her hair. I noticed she had insect bites from the top of her head to the tips of her toes. The only thing she was wearing was a diaper, which had been soiled for quite some time. And she weighed nothing. Her cheeks were sunken in. She was terrified to be picked up. She couldn't or wouldn't talk to me. I brought her out to this area here where the mother was in the living room. I said, "How could this happen? How could you let this happen?" And she said, "I'm doing the very best I can." I told her, "Your best is not good enough."
That's the best you can do? That's the best you can do. You had your daughter living like Tarzan in that bitch. Yo, you said it had fucking insects and shit in her hair, bro. Like a mutt you see like in the neighborhood that just be roaming around. Got big ass fleas and ticks on it. Cause it been sucking on that nigga for like God knows how long. That's what she had in her hair. That's crazy. That's the best you can do. Okay. Let's see what her excuse is.
So that little girl was removed from the home.
I hope they show an interview of the mother, bro. Cause I gotta see what she gotta say about that.
And taken immediately to an emergency room. Look at this.
Danielle was brought to me through the Child Protective Team because there was a concern of possible medical neglect. Danielle was 6 years, 9 months, but her behavior, some of her language skills were that of an infant, probably in the 6-month range. She wasn't able to feed herself, but she would feed from a bottle. Danielle was malnourished and she was dirty and had several insect bites. But to me, what was most profound about Danielle was her reaction to human beings. She wouldn't make eye contact. She frequently pushed us away, kicked us away, would snarl at us, frankly.
Yo, she's acting like a dog, my nigga. Her mom treated her like a German Shepherd. I can't even say that because I know German Shepherds that get treated better than this.
She behaved like an injured animal. We realized the safest place would be one of the caged cribs, large cribs.
Tracy Sheehan is a circuit judge in Florida. 3 years ago, Judge Sheehan was Danielle's attorney ad litem. That is court terminology for her voice in court. She met Danielle for the first time 3 weeks after she left the hospital.
Hey, you know this shit old because they using Skype right now.
You told Judge Sheehan, you told our producers that you've never seen anything like Danielle's case.
Absolutely not, and I dare say most of us have not. Although I instantly thought of that movie Nell, where Jodie Foster was being raised like a wild animal out in the woods. This child was.
I have never heard of that movie. I gotta watch that. What is it called again?
Although I instantly thought of that movie Nell, where Jodie Foster was being raised like a wild animal out in the woods. This child was literally a wild animal. I recall seeing this child just wandering aimlessly with her hands up in the air and staring at the sky, all sorts of stimulation around her, and she was just oblivious.
She never been outside before. Yo, damn. Her mom treated her like a wild animal for real. Yo, that's wild, bro. And they say mothers don't treat their children bad, man. I know you fucking lying.
To it. It was really mind-boggling that a child was so devoid of social skills. She couldn't grab her sippy cup. She couldn't do positive, negative reinforcement regarding potty training and eating a cookie for reinforcement. It was just the saddest thing that this child, at age 7 practically, was being raised like a potted plant, literally.
So we have documents that show DCFS received previous complaints about Danielle's mother and had made 2 visits to this home in 2002.
So here we go again.
Prior to
another video where the freaking the parental services got involved prior to these kids ending up like this. Another one. DJ Khaled, another one. This is sad, bro.
July 13th, 2005. But DCFS rated the risk to this little girl as low. They said the risk to her was low and left her in her mother's care both times.
How is that low? How, bro? Let me shut up.
Sheehan, why do you think they did that? They didn't take this child out of the house.
I recall the reports that the allegation was that this mother was off drinking at the VFW with her boyfriend and leaving the child, who at that time was about 4, home with her older brothers who were late teens and were reportedly slow and low functioning. So the report was that she was being left with inappropriate caretakers. And yes, indeed, the Department of Children and Families, our social service agency, responded to the home. And the reports indicated that the child was sleeping on one occasion and they didn't get her up and speak to her and put themselves in a position to assess her developmental skills. So had they, assessed the situation better, surely
so basically they didn't do their fucking job. That's basically what she's getting at. She's telling the whole, you know what I'm saying, the long version of it, but basically they didn't do their job. She's blaming them without blaming them.
Had reasons for concern. At that time, the mother was not receptive to services. They offered a daycare referral, encouraged her to put the child in daycare. She refused. She later testified at trial. She didn't think she needed any service.
Daycare? She wouldn't even give her child a bath. How'd she go? You think she gonna put her in daycare? She wouldn't even feed her. She was still giving her a bottle at age 7.
Services. She was doing the best she could. And of course, hindsight is 20/20. Had we known what we know now,
look at her
we would
face.
have
Look at Opie's
removed
face.
her.
Look at Opie's face, man. Hold on, go back. Go back.
Trial, she didn't. We would have.
How her face is how I'm feeling inside. Disgusting. Disgusting behavior, man. Bro, what? The more I do these reaction videos, the more I found out that there's some very deplorable, let me scratch that. There's some things that people do in this world that just like, it's just like, makes you, it's just like, why? It just makes you think like, why? Why do you think this is okay? And then the people that's supposed to stop it, they're just like, okay, fine. We don't really care. They put things in place to protect people, but the things that are in place to protect people ain't doing their job. So I don't know, man. This shit is weird. It's a weird situation. Yeah, they got me, man. See, they got me feeling some type of way. Man. But I'm gonna end the video right here. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Till next time.